What's it too? I don't know.
Okay. All right, probably give the kaputt. Ich hab Botcheck vergessen mit Film bei denen Stub.
Who?
The boy that was there by you for Shabbos.
The film is in the basement there? In my house?
Mm-hmm.
So how you put film today this morning?
He got from my friend. I want to go by your house, maybe get it from you, and I'll bring it tomorrow.
And then you have to drive it to him?
No, I'll bring it tomorrow. I'll come back anyway.
You have to daven tomorrow morning with it.
No, he says he has a cover. He's not a lefty. Whatever. It's,
Listen, sometimes that's on by accident.
Yeah, we're on.
Parents get one for me?
Yeah, parrots.
This fella?
There. Then there.
And this other guy.
Okay.
The others. This other.
Okay. At the end of Parsha Mishpatim, it tells a story. It goes backwards. It tells a story of what happened right before the Eden had Matan Torah. It tells a story of what happened on day 5, right before Matan Torah. Right at the end of Parshas Mishpatim, it tells the story of what happened in the last few moments before Matan Torah. You could say. You could say.
We talked my time, the uncle was shul. Und dann sie redet. Was ist? Sie kommt mal Maseltag. Sie gewann mehr Tochter. Was bist du so zu reden? Weiß nicht, was für ein Namen zu geben. Gott nur mal was Menschen. Sie werden Parshiyos mach ich Schritt von Reise Heile. Nee, ich kenne nicht die Schritt, die sie lebt nach Hals.
Okay, let's start the psukim.
I'll interpret it in English.
Vayikta Moshe es kol divrei Hashem v'yashkem b'boyke v'yiveh mizbeach tachat zahor v'shneim esrei matzei v'l'shneim also shifti Yisrael. On day 5, he woke up early in the morning. Rashi says he wrote from Bereshis until Parshas Yisrei, until Aseret Adibris. He wrote everything. This is Erev Matan Torah. He wrote from Bereshis until Aseret Adibris. And he put Shtei Mesrei Matzei v'l'shneim also Shifti Yisrael. Vayishlach es nar ibnei Yisrael vayalo oilus vayizbuchu zvachim shlomim l'Hashem porim. They brought karbonos to the Eibishter. Vayikach Moshe chatzi Adam vayosam ba'agonos v'chatzi Adam zorek al mizbeach. Vayikach sefer abris vayikra be'oznei. Which Sefer Abris? Rashi says that Sefer that he just wrote from Bereshis until Anoich Hashem Alekecha, and he read it. Vayomru kol asher diber Hashem nase v'nishma. Vayikach Moshe es Adam vayizrik al ha'am vayomer hine dam habris asher koretz Hashem imochem al kol hadvorim ha'ela. End story. End story. That there was a special. There was the Moshe Rabbeinu took the blood and sprinkled it on the Yidden, and said that this is the Dama Bris. With this, you go into a Bris, the Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'll call Advarim Ma'el on the Torah. Okay, so this is a story we're going to analyze tonight. The Pshuta Shel Mikra of the story. Chazal tell us a lot from the story. Chazal said, "B'shloish Advarim nichnasu Yisrael Abris, b'mila tvila v'atzos korban." They went into a Bris with the Eibishter. Chazal said it was through 3 things: through Mila, Tvila, Vartzos, Korban. Let's read Rashi, what Rashi says about this story.
So this wasn't with Dan Abrit. This Hakazat Adam that Moshe spread wasn't for Brit Mila.
Bris, they made a Bris with Hashem. A Bris with
Not
Hashem
a
is
Brit, I'm saying that.
That's a real Bris with Hashem is Baruch, a covenant. A Bris Oilam Lanetzach. Not a bris with the Israeli Milon from Ben Yehuda, which means that a boy an 8th day. A bris means a covenant with Hashem Yisborech. So this was the dam a bris. With this dam, they went into a bris. The bris itself is also a bris. It's a covenant with Hashem Yisborech.
He said that's 3 things.
2 dam
Right.
They saw it, right? The first foot's in the dam that Moshe Rabbeinu spread on the Deletim Mezuzah.
Right, in the mizbeh, they had
in
2 dam.
Mitzrayim.
2 dam. They had the tam be'erech mizbesesas b'damayich dam at Mila, and then there was the dam.
And now it's the 3rd one.
Rashi says, "Esnare habachoris v'yikach Moshe schatze Adam michilkoi malach bo v'chilkoi." Notice that the Medrash is 4 or 5 shittas. The Medrash, for some reason, has a shitta that it was Chatzi Adam means bediuk. How could a human being
Only a malach alert.
only a malach? But see, Rebbe has a little bit of a different shita. The Rebbe has a different shita in this.
Like
Rebbe,
Lemut Chatzais. Who knows Chatzais?
yeah, the only the Eibishter. So how could you do Chatzi? It has to be a malach. But the Medrash has another three shittas. The Eibishter showed him exactly. The Eibishter made it color. He made half of it black and half of it red. Okay, that's that. Ba'agonas, shnei agonas. There were two agonas. What were the shtei agonas? Echad lechatzi dam oilo, ve'echad lechatzi dam shlomim. Lahazas oisem ala in order to sprinkle the blood on the from the agonas. Umikan,
It's like a pot.
I guess, like a dish, some type of dish. Hard to know what type of dish is aganot. Aganot is a certain type of dish.
You can think he has the
Yeah.
blood there and he has to spread it, so he has to take it from.
Yeah, it's a type of dish. Mekan lomdu Rabbi Seinu, from here our sages taught us. They learned from here shenichna v'seinu labris b'milo v'tvila v'azoaz domin. How do we know? She'ein azoya below tvila. You can never have azoya without tvila. That's the chazal. עכשיו אתה עונה על השאלות כבר. אני לא שאלת השאלות ואתה כבר עונה על השאלות. אני מבין. נדבר על זה, רגע.
לא חתכו מספיק במצרים, חתכו אותה פעם. השאלה אם נשאר מה לחתוך.
ספר הבריס, מברישיס ועד מתן תוירו, ומצווה שנצטער ובמורה. That we said, Moshe already Vayashkem Aboikin, he wrote up Mibreshis Vad Matan Torah, so he read that plus the mitzvah Shen Tzava B'Mora. Vayizrek Inyan Hazoya, Vayizrek was the Hazoya. Targumai, the Targum says that this Vayizrek was Uzerak al Madbecha. It wasn't, even though it says Vayizrek al Ha'om, but the Targum says it wasn't really al Ha'om, it was al Mizbeach. L'chapora al Am, but really the dam didn't go on the Am. The dam went on the Mizbeach.
Not like
Very good. So let's just read three little pieces, Mizrachi, Ramban, Even Ezer, just to set the stage of what's going on over here. Mizrachi says, Mekan lomdu Rabbi Seinu shenichna v'seinu labris v'vila v'tvila v'atzoa domim shein azoa b'lom tvila. So he says, this is brought in Christus Perek Dal, Mechusar Kapora, Tanya, Rabbi Yom Kachem Kavesechem, Ma Vesechem Lanichnas Labris, El Ben Mila Tvila Vatzos Damim, if at Afheim Lo Yikonsol Labris, Ella Ben Mila Tvila Vatzos Damim, that when a person wants to become a Jew and he wants to go into the covenant to the Eibishter and become a Jewish person, he has to have Mila Tvila and Vatzos Damim. V'Omer Bishlam and Mila Diksiv Kimulam Hoya Kol HaMayetzim Mitzrayim. Ina with the ksiv verlaich verech misbeseses b'damoyich, which is dam mila and dam pesach. Atzoas damim nami the ksiv aishlach esnari bnei Yisrael vayalo elus viz b'chuzoch elo tvila minala. How do we know that tvila? The ksiv vayikich Moshe chatz adam vayizrak alo so vein azoya below tvila, and there's never azoya below tvila. That's how we know. That's the Gemara. Increase. Day before. Yeah, one day bore Kvolas HaTorah. Ramban. Bereshis bara Elokim. Ad Anochi Hashem Elokecha. כן.
כתב את זה לפני, עד התורה.
שקיבלו, אנוכי השם הוציאה זה נאמר כשנאמרו עשרת הדיברות.
כן.
אז זה היום למחרת היה.
כן. אז ליום לפני הוא כתב מבראשיס עד אנוכי.
אבל איך הוא, זאת אומרת, הוא כבר קיבל את עשרת הדיברות,
לא, he wrote from בראשיס until אנוכי.
אנוכי אבל נאמר למחרת.
אז אחרי שהקדוש ברוך הוא אמר עד אנוכי, הוא כתב את השאר.
זאת אומרת, כל הסיפור הזה היה יום אחד לפני שקיבלו את התורה. יום. אז למחרת קיבלו את התורה וקיבלו גם אנוכי.
הוא סופר טוב, איך הוא זכר?
אז הוא כתב את האנוכי לפני שקיבלו?
לא, עד אנוכי ולא עד בכלל. עד בכלל. עד 10 פסוקים לפני אנוכי. בוא נגיד ככה. עד 10 פסוקים לפני אנוכי.
תגיד, עד פרשת יתרו. עד לפני אנוכי.
כן.
אוקיי.
לא אנוכי. אוקיי. Ramban, Vayosam ba'agonos, hein kelim asum shaloi kidmus kliya mizbeach. Agonos
Where do you
is,
find mikvahs over there? All of a
it's a
sudden,
good question.
in the
How they found
desert,
so many mikvahs in the
there was
desert.
no
It's a
water.
big pella.
All of a sudden, they found mikvah for
The
everybody.
Beir Shamir, maybe they made holes and it leaked in. Kach omer kechatz adam shoyu daite litn alahom, some bakelam ahim.
Ba'agonos, you didn't say.
Yeah,
The Ramban.
Ramban, Vayosam ba'agonos, and kelim asum shaloi kidmus kliya mizbeach. This is a special, different type of kelim. By the way, the Mizbeach didn't exist yet. This was before Matan Torah. Lakach Oma kechatz adam she'daite litn alahom, some bakelam ahim. Lakatze acher ezorik al Mizbeach min ha-mizrikois, kekibel oisai bahem kedere ha-korbonis.
Is Mizrikos is the Agonos.
Otozoi, there's mizrikos and agonos. Mizrikos were the kalim that they used in order to sprinkle the dam on the mizbeach from the karbonas. Agonos is a different. This yeshnet suge kalim. Agonos and mizrikos.
Mizrikos like a spray, bottle spray.
Today again, it's in Hebrew
Size
today.
photo, you know.
It's the different kalim. They didn't have sprays. They didn't have anything made in China. Trust me. Rabbi Avram Amar. Rabbi Avram Ibn Ezra said, "Ki ba'agonos yishamish ba'vul shnei." The Ibn Ezra says no, that agonos was chatzia the blood.
There was no Mizrokos.
There was no mezrokos. Chatzia the dam they put in the agonos for the Yidden. Chatzia the dam they put in the agonos for the mizbeach. It ging das unkelus shetirgim b'mizrkaya. Agonos and mizrkaya is hainu hach. Ibn Ezra.
The man of Kemen was 2 kilim or 1 kilim.
And we'll talk about it soon. The Rebbe is going to make a big nafkim from it. Ibn Ezra says, "V'chatzi dam shaloylu b'shlomim zorak l'mizbeach l'shem v'hine ba'agonos yishamish l'shnayim shenosan chetzia ba'agonos v'chetzi acher ba'agonos." Hilo, according to the Ibn Ezra, they didn't separate the blood of the oil and the shlomim. They took in the same kli. They took 50% dam oil, 50% dam shlomim for the mizbeach, and the second agona they put 50% the blood oil, 50 shlomim to spray on the people. And according to Rashi and the Ramban, they had 4 kelim, shnayin shem arba.
Right.
2 kelim they had, 2 mizrikas to put chatzi dam oil, chatzi dam shlomim for the mizbeach, and 2 agonas, chatzi dam oil, chatzi dam shlomim for the people. Okay? Vayikach keshakore be'ozna eskenim v'kibul anafsha on zolok chatzi adam anishir v'zor kalam v'hem eskenim came connected kol Yisrael. How could you spray so little blood on 600,000 people, men and women, children, 3 million people? And Ala'am means the skenim. So Ala'am doesn't mean that physically it was a psanes. In other words, the Torah should said it was a miracle. How much blood can you have already from a shlom and from a oila that it should sprinkle on 3 million human beings? I mean, it would have to be a nest. It would be a bigger nest than the menorah and Chanukah. And because the Torah doesn't find, we don't find the Madrash Chazal to tell us that there was a psanes. So therefore, the Ibn Ezra learns that the Kenish Zogan that there was a nest. Elamai, it was a skenim, and there was enough blood to
12 divided by 70. I mean, 70 divided by 12. So
12 or 70 skenim. Because they diluted it in water.
No.
So low down, the mine.
70 skenim divided to 12. Right? 12 mizbechas divided to 12. So each one, what is 10?
זה לא היה דם של הבא בשר. אם זה היה, צריך להגיד. That's what Ibn Ezra said. Okay, yeah, okay. Good, at least we read up the material.
We said Zikna Edo is connected.
Connected colleague. That's why I think it's a good pshat. Rashi is going to say the Rebbe is going to have a different pshat than Rashi. But this is the Ibn Ezra. Okay, the Rebbe says that this Rashi, the Rashi Agonis is muksha achas, doesn't understand one word. Avort klepet nish tzavor. First of all, the first half and the second half of Rashi, they have no connection. If you look in the Gemara Krisus, the Gemara, how did the Gemara know b'shlosh advarim nichnas Yisrael bariz b'mila b'tfila b'tzos carbon? Not from the first pasuk, not from the second pasuk, rather from the 5th pasuk here. Vayikach Moshe Sadam vayizrik ala Vayomer hine dam abris ashekores Hashem yimochem al kol advarim eila. Zog the Gemara in Krisus, mekan lam de Chazal, that Yisrael nicht nus lebris b'mila tvila vatzos komer. Rashi is learning it from the first pasuk. And Bechal, what's the connection to the beginning to the beginning of the Shtei Agonis and umikam mit avov umikam? What's the connection to the beginning and the end of Rashi? What manya shmita etzelar sinai? Klal, the Rebbe said that many times. The Rashi said he came to Pshut Shemikra, not to say things in halacha. If I know that Chazal said b'shlosh dvarim nichnasu Yisrael abris, how am I going to understand better the story in the parsha? Befrat, the three things Rashi said. So the thing that there was damim, azos damim. Rashi doesn't have to tell me. That's the story. And there was a mila and a tvila. It doesn't say in the pasuk there was mila and tvila. And if you want to tell me there really was mila, how do we know? Okay, the Gemara brings psukim for that. That kemulim ha'ama yotzim mitzrayim ve'verlayich berech mizvesesses b'damoyich. But Rashi would have to explain. I don't understand. The fact that they mal themselves when they were Mitzrayim is because the Eibishter said, Kol b'nei fer lo yoshel b'y. And Rashi says another pshat, Nosalem shtei mitzvos, dama pesach v'dama milah, shenemar mizvesesses b'damoyich, in order sheyi b'yoda mitzvos l'sasa kedei sheyigo alu. Pshuta shemikra, the bris in Mitzrayim had nothing to do with the chelik of their conversion. And Rashi macht sich nicht wissen. He says, Chazal said three things. Mila tvila vartzos korban. Explain. Who told you? And how do we know that it was tvila? Because ein azoy v'dlo tvila. First of all, it's a machlokes in the Gemara. It's not just a posh. All the Meforshim Taka ask. The Rambam says that they were toivel. How do we know? Because it says v'chipsusim loisam. So all the Meforshim say, why do you say v'chipsusim loisam? The Gemara says in Yevomis, maybe chipsusim loisam is stam. They took a shower. So the Meforshim answer, that sometimes when the Gemara is doicha something, it doesn't really mean to be doichet, or at least according to the Rambam. The pasuk says v'chipsusim loisam. That's the pasuk. The pasuk says that when the Eibishter spoke to Moshe, he said v'chipsusim loisam, and that's what the Rambam learned. So it's not as I poshut that this that Rashi says that the kilu amru rabbeinu that ein hazoy b'lo tefillah. Not everyone agrees with that. And the bottom line is, why is Rashi getting so busy over here with things from Maimorei Chazal, droshes that are not ashayla? If you learn like this, you learn like that. What is Rashi trying to accomplish? How am I going to understand better the psukim by learning Rashi? And another thing, the Takid Marsho over there has a problem because there's two things. There's hazois domim and hartzoas domim. But Rashi Takid Krisus, the Gemara Rashi says. The Rashi must have had a different gears in the Gemara. Rashi says, "Ma v'seichem lo nichnasu lebris ela b'mila tvila hartzoas dam and vazoas dam." What's the difference between hartzoas dam and vazoas dam? Zok the Rebbe Parshiyos. Hartzoas dam means on the mizbeach. Hazoas dam on the people. And Taka, the Mashur asks that why is it that the Chazal say hartzoas dam? Why did the Gemara forget about hazoas dam? Taka Rashi says both. But why did Rashi over here pick to say Azor Damim, not Atzor Damim? So these are all the kashas that the Rebbe asks. Okay, what's the Rebbe's biur? The Rebbe's biur is Azoi. Over here, the child learns a psachidush davar. We've seen a lot of korbanos where you sprinkle the blood on the mizbeach. You see also by the kohenim that you sprinkle the blood on the kohen. You sprinkle the blood on the metzoida. We see such a thing. But over here, the Torah says there was a special thing. Vayikach Moshe chatzi hadam vayosam ba'agonav, which Rashi noch learns that it was a nest, that a malach did it, because Rashi learned Vayikach Moshe chatzi hadam means that the dam was already chatzi. So how did that happen? So Rashi holds that was a miracle. And the Rebbe says, not because chatzi, how can a human being make chatzi? That the Medrash says, how does a human being know? How did Moshe Rabbeinu know which chetzi to put on the? It says Vayikach Moshe that Moshe took, and the dam was already a chatzi. So Rashi says, "Amalach yikumen and gemacht a chatzi." Okay. So the Ben Chomish Lamikra says, what's going on? We know that there's such a thing as sprinkling blood on the mizbeach. We know there's such a thing as sprinkling blood on the kohen when he becomes, on the nazir, on the metzoida. What says epis mitnamol over here This is a new thing. A kiddush dog. Chetzi v'chetzi. A malach comes in. He splits the chetzi. Yeah. Well, what's going on over here? What's going on over here? Mitnamol, there's agonis, there's mizrikis. We're splitting the blood. Chatzi adam, chatzi adam. What's going on with the chatzi chatzi? What's going on with the chatzi chatzi? And that's what Rashi is trying to explain. Rashi is saying like this. Remember, says there's a Chizkuni that says this, and the other before the Balei Tois will say it. It says by Avraham Avinu when he made a bris with the Eibishter that they took the animals and they cut them in half. Rashi says Shekein derech koisere habris, that they take the animals and they cut it in half, and it symbolizes, like the Alter Rebbe says, Parshiyos Netzavim, that we're part of one. The Katz Shalom, we should ever divide, just like this animal. If you divide it, it's dead. So me and you are part of one. So the Eibishter told the Choli Egla Mishuleshes, Ve'ez, Ve'tod, Ve'goizel, and Vayavasar Osam Batovich, and the Eibishter went through it, and Avraham Avinu went through it to symbolize the bris between the Eibishter and Avraham Avinu. Same thing over here. The Eibishter wanted to do something that symbolizes that half and half. So therefore, the Malach came, and it wasn't because of Chetzi Chetzi. The word is that the Malach came to designate which is going to be. We're going through. We're making a bris.
Which is going to be on the mizbech?
Which is yeah. And that's why Rashi doesn't have to explain where is the Mila. Just like by Avraham Avinu, we know that in order to become close to the Eibishter, he needed a Mila. The same thing, that obviously if you want to go into a bris with the Eibishter, this you have to go in through a Mila. And now the Chidush is that you also do it, instead of taking a behemoth and cutting it in half, they took the blood and they split it in half. Elamai, Rashi says that the Chazal say there was a Tvila. What's the meaning of the Tvila? That the emes is that was poshet. It was a zaytik gezach in a way. In order to have azoy, you first need to have tvila, because otherwise the child is going to ask, "What's a tzatan meila bris?" I understand. The Eibishter said, "What's a bris b'psarchem?" We take the flesh of a yid and we cut, and this cut is that the Eibishter and the yid become one. We take a behemoth, we cut in half, or the blood, and we separate in half, and we're one. I go myself, everyone goes themselves. So the Rashi Taka says that the bris is just how to get in to Hazoyas Hadam. So there's Mila, which is a bris, and there is Hazoya, which is a bris. And in order to go into the Hazoya, you have to have first Tvila. Again, that's Rashi's masbet.
Oh, but they cut the behemoth half. It's not Shabbat.
No, probably they shechted it first.
Shechted? Then they cut it
probably, yeah. I don't think otherwise. When they shechted it, and then they cut it in half. Pashtus. So now, the Rebbe says that this is Take the Pshat and Rashi. But still, for it, you need a little more salt and pepper. Because at the end of the day, we said that l'chayred is Azor Dam and Hatzor Dam, and the first and the second half of Rashi still are not clicking together so well. The Rebbe says that there's another point over here. Rashi did not accept the Ibn Ezer. The Ibn Ezer, in a way, you would like to learn like the Ibn Ezer. The Ibn Ezer says, "Tavayikach Moshe Chatzi Adam, v'yosam bagonas v'chatzi Adam zorak al mizbeach." It means half he put for the Yidden and half he put in a keli to throw on the mizbeach. Rashi decided to learn not that way. The Rashi decided to learn Kilu. There was like similar to the Ramban.
Okay.
Yeah, why? The Rebbe says, "B'pashtus, why?" Because if you read the Psukim and Pshat, Vayikach Moshe Chatzi Adam Vayosam Ba'agonos, and then the Chatzi Adam Zorek Mizbeach, it's mashma that the other Chatzi was not from the Agonos. So therefore, Rashi in Pshat couldn't learn like the Ibn Ezer. He learned the Chatzi Adam Vayosam Ba'agonos. And in the what's Chatzi? If Chatzi Adam Zorek Mizbeach was not in the Agonos, what's the Chatzi? So Rashi says that there were two Agonos that were sprayed on the Yidden. Chatzi dam oilo v'chatzi dam shlomi. Chatzi dam oilo v'chatzi dam shlomi. The Rebbe says, he thinks that the pshat is like this. The pshat is, it's not, the chatzi wasn't because half was spilled on the Mizbeach and half was spilled on the Yidden. Chatzi was, Chatzi dam was oila and chatzi dam was shlomim. Oil is kulel Hashem. Shlomim is the bailam have a chelik in it. So when he sprayed on the Eden, kilo, they went through the shnei chatzoim. They walked through the chatzi dam oila and the chatzi dam shlomim. That was the chatzi. We needed to spray the blood on the mizbeach. The Torah doesn't make a big issue from that. If you don't spray blood on the mizbeach, it's not called a korban.
That's another clip.
That's another zach. That's like he said, mizrikas. That's not the agonis. It's not a korban. If you're taking blood and you're spraying it on people, that's not called a korban. A korban, by definition, from the days of Odom Orishan and Cain and Hevel and Avram Avinu, by definition, the basic ingredient of a korban is that some of the blood goes on the mizbeach. B'shas heter bombas, that's the way it was. B'shas isur bombas, it can only be in the mizbeach in the Shiloh, in the Begiven, in Yerushalayim, and Mashiach will come only in Yerushalayim and HaKodesh. But the definition of a korban is that you take some blood and you sprinkle it on the mizbeach. So therefore, the Torah doesn't make a big tzimis. So Rashi says, Chatzi dam oila v'chatzi dam shlomim. V'chatzi dam zorak al mizbeach. Obviously, v'chatzi dam zorak al mizbeach. Otherwise, it's hotach nishkendim from a korban b'chlal. So therefore, obviously, the chatzi dam was zorak al mizbeach. But what was the two halves that went on with the tilu? The Yidden went through the two halves. Was the half of the oila and the half of the shlomim. The half of the oila and the half of the shlomim. So,
but the oil is the whole blood go to Hashem. The shlom is only half. It's like water.
The Indian is the oil. Always the blood goes on this bath. The difference of the oil and shlom is that the oil, the flesh, and the whole
everything,
thing, plus the hooves go on the mizbeach to get burnt, and the shlomim only the few pieces, the insides for the behemoth goes on the, and the rest the bailam eat. But mitzad the dam is the zal bezach. The mitzad the dam, okay, this is the dam but the Indian of that the dam has to touch the mizbeach is the zal bezach. It's just that the Indian of oil means it's kulel Hashem. The Indian of shlomim is the flesh is eaten by the bailam. So the Eibusha said we should make chatzi v'chatzi, and the Yidden went kilo was a bris. The Yidden went between the dama oila and that was the chetzi. The symbolism of by Avram Avinu. They took a cow, they cut it in half. The Eibusha walked in the middle, and the Yidden walked in the middle. Here by Matan Torah, they brought a oilot, they brought a shlomim, they took the blood, and that's why the Torah makes a big deal of the chatzi adam vayosam ba'agonas. And the Malach came and they said, this is the dam that's going to be for the Eden.
Now you understand also why a Malach need to come and spread.
Because it's a big deal.
Not that sure. He know exactly how much I have.
Because this was a big deal. Right.
Which is the
now, the Rebbe says the emes is that if you look at the end of Rashi says that he brings his own pshat and then he brings a targum. Vayizrik is v'targuma uzirak al madbachol kapor al amma. A lot of Meforshim say, why does Rashi bring the Targum? Because he's bothered with the same thing in Ibn Ezra. How can you take a little bit of blood from a one korban oil, one korban shlamim, and spray on 3 million human beings? It would have to be a bigger nest than the Arak by the Baba Sali, and a bigger nest than the oil, Chanuk, and the Beis HaMikdash. That Lamazogin, 3 ounces or 4 ounces of blood was able to touch 3 million human beings.
Who said it was 1 and 1? One shlamim, one ora.
That's what the Torah says.
Never said one.
It says
shlamim. Shlamim is pure. It's few. It's not one.
Yeah, but it sounds like it was 12. 12 and 12. That's what it sounds like. So 12 and 12. Let's say every cow has blood that flows in tagonas. I don't know. Say 5 ounces. So you do the math. You still have 3 million people here. So that's what the Meforshim say is the problem. So therefore, they say
only in
Zikna. That either only Zikna, or you say like that he threw it on the Mizbeach.
The Mizbeach is like for
and the Mizbeach took it for Klal Yisrael.
Let's even make more
sense. So the Rebbe says it's even better in a way that the Mizbeach took the blood, which made it a din of a korban, and the Mizbeach took all the blood the Mizbeach took, and that's the Indian of going in between the two chalokim. That's a bris. That's a Chris's bris. In the Mizbeach, it was Nisachid. All the Domim was Nisachid on the Mizbeach. Anyway, this is the Pshuta Shel Mikra. So anyway, so everything is now Nechem Pshuta Shel Mikra Shel Rashi. So really, the Rashi is Nagonos. The Rashi, every word of Rashi makes sense, and it all clicks together.
How do you answer why sometimes you call it Agonis, sometimes you call it...
The Gemara said, here, because we're only talking about the Agonis. The Mizrik is to throw it on the Mizbeach, but that's not Negei over here, because that's not the story here. The Torah doesn't have to tell you. Versteht, they put it on the Mizrik and they throw it on the Mizbeach, like you always throw on the Mizbeach through a Mizrik. The story here is... Yeah, the Ikid over here we're trying to say is that the Chatzi Adam, Chatzi Oila, Chatzi Shlomim, that was Kilo Chetzi Lechetzi, that the Eden went in Tabriz between a Chetzi and a Chetzi. So the Rebbe says that the story is between Chatzi Dam Oila and Chatzi Dam Shlomim. So now everything makes sense in Rashi. The Rebbe says that what's up shot in the Rebbe says a Moira de Kavort. We learned the Maimah this week in Likutei Torah. He says that the Alvis were such big tzaddik. Why do you need Matan Torah? So the Rebbe, whatever we learned Shabbos, but the Rebbe says that there is a way of understanding that the Alvis, even though there are makova, but just like in the Moshe, what is a makova? There's me and there's a makova. The makova will do exactly what I want, but me and the makova are not hainuha. But Matan Torah made that a Yid and the Eibishter becomes Hainu Hahir. The Yid could become one with the Eibishter. That's the symbolism. In the bris that the Eibishter made with Avraham Avinu is they took Chayes Ve'oifes, which is Meramis and the union of Merkava, which is the Chayes is Meramis and the Merkava Yoina. And even Begashmias, there was a behemoth, they cut it in half, and they walked through the halves, which doesn't show on such a big achdus. We're saying just like the behemoth is one, me and you are one. The Eibush that says me and you, Avram Avinu, are one. And if Chas v'Shalom we should separate, it's like taking a behemoth and cutting it in half. But this achdus that the Eibush wanted to symbolize by Matan Torah was a deeper achdus. It was signed in blood. It was done with blood. We share the same blood. Half the Eibishter says half the blood is mine, just like if a person needs the blood, they need to have a certain amount of blood. That on the Rachman al-Islam, if they have less than that blood, Rachman al-Islam, they couldn't live any longer. So the person has to have a certain amount of blood to circulate. So Kilo the Eibishter says that and that's why he sent a Malach to say that this was a Chalois, that the bris over here is that me and the Yidden are Kilu sharing the same pint of blood. There's a pint of blood, me and Chetzi v'Chetzi. Chetzi Oila, Chetzi Shlomim, not between the Mizbeach, the Chetzi Oila v'Chetzi Shlomim, and this is my Chetzi is the Oila, your Chetzi is the Shlomim, and the two Chetzi makes one Dover Sholem. I had a Chalois din of a Chetzi, the Torah calls it Chetzi Adom. I had every part of the Agonis. This had a din of Chetzi, and this had a din of Chetzi. And the Eibishter says the Chetzi is Oila, the Chetzi is Shlomim, Chetzi is me, Chetzi is you. So just like a human being, he needs a pint of blood, and Chetzi is mine, and Chetzi is yours. So the Eibishter says that by the Ovis, we cut a cow in half, which shows on its actus, but not such a big actus like we're sharing the same pint of blood. And the union of the Ovis is that they were Merkava. And therefore the covenant was they behemoths v'chayas, which is the union of Merkava Elyon. On day 5, before Matan Torah, the Eibishter made a bris with the Yid to say that here with the Chidush is that a Yid becomes one with the Eibishter mamash in his blood. Kul echad with the Eibishter. So there's a mila in the bris, and the Pashtus. Why did the Eibishter make a new bris? Because he already made a bris with Avraham Avinu. That bris wasn't only for Avraham. It was Lazarav, the Deroisam, bris Olam, the bris, the Psarchem, and the bris that he made the bris ben Absorim, and he said that they're going to be a special nation. So this is this bris is a Chidush HaYeshonos? No, it was a new bris, a deeper bris. The first bris was a regular Dagan Achdus. It's Bechinas Merkava. Merkava means a bittul gomo shel merkava l'aroichem. But there's two things. There's the merkava and there's aroichem. Mashenken here, there's kula chad with the Eibishter. A Yid becomes mamish one with Hashem. So over there was symbolized by taking a behemoth and cutting it in half. The Eibishter said, I'm half, you're half. Vechinas merkava. But here, the Eibishter said, me and you are one, symbolized by chatzi dam oila, chatzi dam shlamim, that we're sharing the same blood. So the two of us, I have chetzi of the blood, and you have chetzi of the blood. And you put the two chatzoim together, you get a dava shalom. So I'm chetzi, the Eibishter says, and you're chetzi. And that symbolizes a much deeper krisis bris. That's the krisis bris of Matan Torah. It's a much deeper. It wasn't stam chidush hayeshonas that the Eibishter said, let's do a repeat of the bris that I did with Avraham Avinu. It was a total pashtus takazai. The Yidden, there's a whole lumdus. The Yidden, what's the together of Yidden before Matan Torah? They have a din of Ben Noach plus, Ben Noach plus. It was 1 year we went through a lot. There's two svarim that talk about a lot. The mitzvahs of the obviously for Matan Torah. The Parshiyos, the Yidden before Matan Torah didn't have the same. Even in Pshat, they went through a gerus now, so they went up on a higher level. So the krisus bris then was a lower krisus bris. Two things, but al makov and aroichem. And the now there's a krisus bris which makes the Yidden the Eibishter is the same pint of blood. It's ais achtus gemura with the Eibishter Yisrael ve'iraisa kuchabrich with mamish kul echad. And that's why it's dafka symbolized in Indian of blood, because the blood, evorim, there's a hand, there's a right, the left, but the blood, the same blood that goes here, goes in the heart, goes in the brain. It's the same blood. It's not. You say the right hand and the left hand are the same from the one body. So it's like in Pedic Lama Beis and Tanya, bring for your Shalmi. You know, if accidentally you bang the finger one hand, the other hand, you're not going to hit back the other hand because it's from the same body. But still, the right hand and the left hand, this is right and this is left. But in the blood, it's not the pshat. This is the blood that belongs in the brain, and this is the blood that goes in the finger. And the vakazet. It's the same blood that circulates in the zalba guf. So we're saying chatzi of the dam, the Yidden and the Eibishter is one. So it's a sachtus gemura, kula chad with the Eibishter. So that ava, that love that's in the blood, is a much deeper covenant, a much deeper bris. And that's the bris that the Yidden went in to chatzi adam right before Matan Torah. This is besides the Havon and Pshuta Shel Nikra about the Katzi and the Agonis and the Mizrikis and why is a Malach and how did Rashi know? It's mufla. Rebbe always said that you get the Minyanim Mufloim first when you learn the Pshat, and when you learn the Pshat good, then you see the Minyanim Mufloim from the stories in the Torah that come out just by learning the Pshat. That's unbelievable.
I'm thinking about the clear Agonos. Well, what's Agonos? What kind of name is Agonos?
It's a funny name.
Taf. What's the middle letter? Gimel Nun.
It's a funny word.
So I'm saying Agonos, right? So I'm saying Agonos says Aleph Taf. From the beginning to the end, you have to go to the Gan. What's the Lagani?
Oh, very good.
You know what's Agan
Very good.
This part called Agan. Agan is Rechaim.
Agan, okay.
Agonos, everywhere a kli called Agonos. Mizrakot.
Aleph is tough and Agan. Okay, very good.
Not that to go the whole day.
Aleph
You want to be with
is
the
tough.
Ebershter.
The Gan. What's the Lagan? Okay. What's Gan? You're almost there. Almost Bas Lagan.
But it's there. It's in the.
It's in the word.
No, the concept. What happened in each one? The Rebbe Nechsin became one.
Yeah, very good.
The Rebbe belonged to Chassidus, Nechsin belonged to the Rebbe. It's not like two separate things.
Yes.
Nasir Zot.
فرقنا ولا نقدر نقاش السلام وكلنا ماشي براسنا في بنفس الخبرة في المهم
Amen.
هذا هذا ميوحد.
No, I'm looking at Yoel. I'm looking at Yoel.
What? I'll go over it. Yeah, sure.
You're winning to the Chasana?
Yeah, afterwards.
Someone got for me. I'm not going.